Guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Wildcats X-Men Silver Age #1 by Marvel Comics and Image Comics. So this is a crossover with Scott Lobdell, Jim Lee, and Scott Williams. Let's dive in and see if it's actually really good or not. So we start here with Cole. He's in prison, and there's another guy with him. And so this is in the past, by the way, part of the past. And so none other than, oh, look at this. Hey, it's Gambit. What a coincidence. What a coincidence that Gambit is here in a South American prison long time ago. So they are, having some buddy chat here, and then other than, well, you can see who it is. Nick Fury comes in and he says, "Which one of you guys is Cold Cash?" And Gambit says, "The ugly one. That don't harrow it down much. You got a choice, Cash. Come with me, do this job, and you're free. Stay here and you rot." Okay, so he goes with them. So he asks Fury, "Hey, what makes you so special?" He said, "What makes you think I'm special?" "Because the soldiers are practically shaking in their boots. Because you're driving me out in a 300-year to life sentence." So yeah, this is the real Nick Fury, not the fake one, the one that Marvel is using now. This one is the real one. He's a hard ass. He's a badass, and that's in my book. It's never going to change. I don't care. I don't care how many sons there are of him or daughters, if you have any, and take his name. This is the best one. I accept no substitutes. Anyway, moving on. So before he can do anything, he's being attacked by the Brute coming out of nowhere. There's some people here, some I don't know, they're changing into the Brute. And so he says to against Cole, "Hey, take my gun and pump in some lead on these creatures." And that's exactly what he's doing. And he's getting attacked as well. And then, this is happening. So he drives over these creatures, but then they are starting to fly. But, the vehicle that they are in, they turn into some kind. S.H.I.E.L.D. has a couple of cars, of a lot of cars, that can turn into flying vehicles. And I always like that. It's some kind of a classic thing. And I like that a lot. And then these creatures are getting zapped from above. And Cole asks him, "Hey, what's happening?" So we didn't see a fantastic shot. Oops, too far. Of the helicarrier. Freaking awesome. And Nick says, "Yeah, hey, we are part of the S.H.I.E.L.D. And he says it stands for Supreme Headquarters of something something. And he says, "Hey, you're the good guys? Well, let me correct that. If you are an innocent country being stomped on by a tin-plated despot, or if you're some raving loon that has got a death ray pointing in your head, then we're the good guys, but get in our way. We are as bad as it gets." I like that. So they're going in, and I say, "Hey, this is the helicarrier." And then there's a woman here waiting for them. And she greets him with Colonel Fury. And he says, "And this walking sexual discrimination suit just waited to be happen is Miss Honeygate." That made me laugh. I love the writing. So she said, "Is everyone done spraying their scent? Maybe we can go to work." And Cole says, "Work? Yeah. We're going to save the world, kid. I hope you survive the experience." Pretty cool. And then we go to someone in Madripoor, if I'm saying that correctly. So we see Angel and Iceman having, sparring with each other. But then Cyclops comes in and says, "Hey, you need to train harder." He's doing the tough guy, leader thing. But then Angel says that, Bobby says to him, he says, "Hey, this isn't about training. It's about you try to pretend you haven't made the biggest mistake in your life by letting Jean leave for that modeling gig in Australia without even saying goodbye." I didn't even know that Jean was doing modeling. But hey, since this is not really canon and all these people are just meeting each other for the very first time, I read, it doesn't really matter. So, and then we see Hank in his human form before he turns into the beast as we know it, the blue furry guy. And he's stalling, because there's the airport, and basically he wants to, how do you say, prevent her from going. And then she says, hey, I know what you were doing. And then she talks about her on and off boyfriend and that she really loves him. Now remember that this part, guys. So, and then at the end, well, at the airport, Cyclops and Angel are coming by and to say goodbye, right? And so they hug here. And Angel had the hots for her one time, and he wants to, how do you say, try to get her on the plane, going far, far away. And when she go to Australia or whatever that she's going for that modeling gig, they can spend some time with each other. But, Scott doesn't like that. And she says to him that she's not in love with you. And he says, well, give it time. Well, he's a rich playboy. And so a small rivalry here. And so basically they're Jean and Scott having a chat. But, Scott is being Scott. I still don't know what she sees in that guy. But hey, he's basically cannot say what she wanted to say. But in his head, he says, I love you, Jean. And then she says, I love you back. Let me put some lights in. It's getting a little bit darker here. Just give me a second. Is this helping? Well, a little bit. Anyway, and she says here, get off the plane, get off the plane. And then, so Colonel Fury is briefing Cole here about what they are going to do. And then Miss Honey something introduces, Cole to a wide array of experimental weapons. And he says, and what if I say no? No, I ain't on the menu, Goldilocks. I love it. I love Nick Fury so much. He's a badass. He's a hard ass. It comes from a time period when you don't talk about your feelings all the time, like in modern comics. Anyway, so Fury talks about some kind of invasion from outer space, and he needs Cole's help for that. And Cole transforms himself into the Grifter, although he's not calling himself Grifter. And Miss Honeypenny, or whatever her name is giving her a pen, give him a pen. He says, so it writes? No, but it makes a great laser. And they give him the suit, and it's some kind of a Kevlar armor and tunic and trench coat. And the mask works as an airborne toxic inhibitor, has an infrared red night vision locator, and some, more octagonal, upgrades. And cool guns. And so he also says, hey, so why me, Fury? 2 reasons, Cole. 1, because we got good authority that you rate real high in the Psy department. So yeah, he has some kind of a power. Now, I have all the comics of Wildcats upstairs in a box. Still haven't read much of it, so I'm pretty limited of what he can do. Although I'm very interested in this whole, Wildcat series. I know I read a couple of them. I'm highly invested in it, but no time and all that stuff. And he sees. So Fury says, 2, we don't expect you to come back. You're 100% expendable. And then she says, though I appreciated you brought back the laser pen. It's a prototype. Yeah, writing is spot on, when it comes to characters. But then we see Jean Grey in the plane. And she's getting invaded by, I believe, Demonites. And the Demonites are talking to her like she is an agent. And an agent called Masklow. And she said, who is Agent Masklow? And so the Demonite says, allow the charade to continue if you like, but know this, you never get anywhere near the heavens wave, whatever that is. And then we see Jane's face. The art is fantastic. This was probably the best era for Jim Lee. His art was great, very detailed. He was very popular at the time before he, took over DC Comics and, ruined it, among other things. Yeah, DC Comics is in a very, very, very bad place. Layoffs all the time. A lot of layoffs, I mean, and yeah, it's not doing well. But let's not go into that. And she said, hey, what was that? Somewhere between a dream and a psionic assault, like I never experienced. And then she noticed the guy behind her sweating, and that is actually the agent Maslow. And so it seems that the Brood and the Demonites are after him. And then we see, Cole and Agent Honey something is, having a chat with each other. And he says, what I want to know is what a nice, quiet, well-toned but repressed babe like you're doing knee-deep in this cloak and dagger crap. Well-toned and repressed, he says. Let's just say I've I always been a lot smarter than I look. A regular savant, huh? So yeah, this is, I didn't notice that at the time, but Savant has her own series in Image Comics, Wildstorm Universe, before they mixed. And she's the daughter of Zealot and Mr. Majestic, in canon, it seems, which has nothing to do with this particular timeline universe story. Anyway, so she says that the one that they are looking for is on that plane, and that she needs to get out alive, right? And then she's disappearing. And also, Cole is ready to get into action, but he also feels something in his brain that is something off. And he talks about Team 7. Yeah, there's a lot of hints and nudges about, Wildstorm, Image, Universe, related superhero and supervillain stuff. I like that, but it's only relevant and interesting if you actually know these guys, which I do to a certain degree. Anyway, so Jean is trying to make contact with Marlov here, and then Cole is already here. But then we also see, demonites in disguise, I guess, and they want to kill the agent, and so he's getting hit full time. And we see also, this is no joke. This is Jonah J. Jameson. Don't call me Chief. Not Peter Parker White, but this is J. Jonah Jameson. So yeah, a little bit of stuff like that is in here. And so Cole intervenes, and they are transforming into, I believe, hybrids. And he says, isn't anybody what they're supposed to be anymore? And he says, if your sufficient mind could even grasp even a fraction of what we are doing here, you wouldn't understand what a foolish question you ask. So this creature says, we are one of the warbearers of the Brood, a forward scout of alien race determined to destroy all human life in this sector. But when we arrived, we discovered another race already here, the Demonites. Rather than fight along amongst themselves, we decided to slow down already, have a pen to write it all down. And then we switch back to this guy who's dying. And basically, Jean says, hey, you need to open up your mind for me so that I can take the information and, I don't know, what's the word? Avenge your death. Something like that. So there, she's actually doing that, and she's using her psi powers to get rid of these demonites, but then she's being also surrounded by Brood, demonite, hybrids, etc., etc. And they discover that she is a mutant. And skipping this a little bit, but then Cole unleashes raw psionic energy. Like I said, I'm not familiar what he can do, but it really messes him up. And Jean says, painful and yet intensely pleasurable? For me anyway. That sounds weird. So Cole is losing it because I believe it takes him back from what happened before, more like a trauma or something. And Jean is trying to calm him down, and then they are disappearing before the police actually can do anything, so she frees him into place. Meanwhile, we have Pike here talking about towards a guy called Mr. Well, it's none other than Mr. Sinister. Damn, it looks great. So what is his plan? We're going to find out. Meanwhile, we have Jean trying to make contact with the X-Men, but there's nobody home, so she's, I don't know, talking into that thingy, that recorder thing. But she also looks at his ass. And so Cole said, so was he home? Who, he? You know, your boyfriend. So what makes you so sure I have a boyfriend? Jean Grey, you. I love him so much. Oh, oh no, I love you too, baby. Oh yeah, right. You're. Oh. Anyway, so and then she says, "Hey, thanks for saving me earlier." And he says, "Cheater." I was. And she says, "I wanted to thank you." And she says, "Go ahead." Just guys, can we just agree that Jean Grey is a total slut? I mean, she's always doing that, you know, with Wolverine, with Logan, with this guy, all these, you know, very masculine, tough, hard as nails guys. And then she says, "Oh no, I love you, Scott. I love you, Scott." But then when he turns around or he's away for a while, then he's sucking face with Wolverine again. Dude, and it hasn't changed. It's been going on for, well, as long as I read comics, or when, you know, Wolverine came into the picture. Damn it, slut. Anyway, she says, "Oh no, I can do that. I feel guilty." And then she says, "Okay." And then she walks away. Meanwhile, they are changing and they are here at some kind of a boat. And it's some kind of a cherry going on because she picked that information from the agent that has died. And they are, you know, looking for, I don't know, a fundraiser. And we have, you know, Mick Jagger, the guy from the Beatles, a lot here. And then Pike comes in and he says, "Hey, thank you everybody for all your donations. The life you give tonight, that is your own, will go a long way to providing a pleasant home for some disadvantaged young hybrid." And then this old guy is transforming into a hybrid as well. And then he says, "Hey, lead them to the incubation pods." So these are just more cattle for, I don't know, food, or maybe transforming them into hybrids for taking over the world. I'm not entirely sure. Don't know. Meanwhile, Jean and Cole is breaking in, and they are changing into their gear, and they want to cut the electricity, but they've been greeted by more hybrids. And then, more action is going on, and then she says to Cole, "Hey, stand back when there's a door here. Possibly that, hey, you can't possibly be hiding a key anywhere inside a miniskirt." And she says, "There's one thing I do better than thinking is this." And then she's using the psi powers. It looks really cool, by the way. And she says, "What exactly do your 4 other guys have to do when you're around?" Yeah, that made me chuckle a bit. But there's way too many hybrids, so they fall back. And then they're getting blasted from above by biokinetic blast. And Cole is a little bit surprised that she actually knows that. And so it seems that Pike here is also a hybrid. And he knows who calls it. And they're getting into a fight because reasons. And basically talk about his demonite master's plans for world dominations. And he's a threat and needs to be taken out. Okay, I can get behind that. Meanwhile, we see here Dakota Zealot. And Mr. Sinister is, Cole is here. And he's interested in Marvel Girl. And he takes a sample of her. So Pike says, "Hey, that was it? That's all you need? A single cell, a DNA sample, a key to the future." And so Zealot says, "Get up, you idiot. Cool it, lady. I'm a SHIELD agent, in a way. You're about as much as a SHIELD agent as I am. And right now, you're being less than useless. Now you're going to continue to kneel before me, or are you going to at least try to help?" Zealot is getting free because Pike says, "Zealot is the last person you want to running around here." And then here's the sound. "I beg to differ. You see, I recognize the sound of that optic blast." So Pike says, "What's an optic blast?" And then he's getting blasted by another psykinetically blast from Jean Grey. And so it seems that Jean Grey doesn't know that Mr. Sinister was here, so he's, disappearing while they are fighting. And then Cole is here. So he says, "Jean, tell me these are the 4 other guys on your team." And then Cyclops comes in. "Now drop the gun until we know exactly what's going on here." So immediately these two are going to fall out with each other, just like, Wolverine Cyclops did in the past. So Cole says, Look, pal, aside from being broken out of a South American prison, in the last 24 hours I've been shanghaied by some Yahoo super spy, been shot at by rebels, had my hand bitten, ribs cracked, heart nearly broken, being criticized for rescuing some lady while trying to do my part to save the world. Get this, aliens. All in all, a bad day. It just got worse. I am not your pal. And then this is happening, so he actually shoots at Cyclops. So if Jean was a fraction of a second later, he would be dead. And then they say, man. All right, and then this is the last page, guys. So Scott says, hey, who's your friend? Just some guy. And then Zealot says, if you are through mooning over that woman who is certainly too smart and too in love to bother give you a second thought, perhaps we commence with your training. And he says, for what? I sense great power in you. So basically, he says that, there's some upcoming war. There's some latent powers that he needs to get harnessed or something. And then she says, but with your lesson will be rigorous. You will have no time to waste thinking about the pleasures of the flesh. With you around, lady, I don't think it'd ever pop into my head. She doesn't like that. What is that supposed to mean? Read my mind, lady. All the best babes can. That's it. Close the book. It's over. Yeah. Okay. And then we have some covers. Looks great. This is mine with Scott Williams and Neil Adams. And more ads. Stuff like that. Great stuff. Yeah. More crossovers. So yeah. Is this a good comic? Absolutely not. This story is paper thin. But at a time, I bought this brand new, by the way, in I believe this was 1997. Let me double check. Is it really important? Wait a minute. Why can I not get a good focus? This is from, 1997, guys. It says here. So yeah. I got it brand new, but at that time I bought comics for visuals, great art. That was for me at that time the most important. And Jim Lee was hot at that time, and he draws gorgeous women and very masculine men. Great action scenes, great detail. I love his art still. But and the reason why I'm doing this reviews, maybe I told you that, because I want to know. Now that I'm way older, does the story still holds up aside from the visuals? And the answer is yes and no. Well, in this case, no. But yeah, when it comes to art, the art is really, really good. It's fantastic. I mean, look at her face, beautiful. And look at this Mr. Sinister and with sexy, gorgeous babes here hanging. Zealot. And and Jean Grey is a total slut still. Okay, guys, that's it for my review. Let me know what you think about this. Have you read this? If you still this in possession, what do you think about it? Please leave a comment. It really helps me with the algorithm. And give me a like. That would be great. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.